Lockdown was really fun to work on and pretty different from a typical House episode, certainly very different from any that I've worked on because it has no medical story. Katie Jacobs was actually sitting around our sort of writer's lunch table, and I think she was sitting with David Foster talking about the idea for a Wilson-centric episode, and was just asking other writers, can anybody think of an idea for an atypical episode, just something that breaks the form? And I thought, what if there's some kind of a quarantine or a lockdown where pairs of our characters can get stuck together, and what if you stick House in a room with a dying patient? We immediately came up with this idea, what about one of the cases House has turned down? We always follow the things that interest him, but we never really see what happens to the patients whose diseases don't really rate. It was particularly doable to do an episode like this with 4 writers because, while Peter Blake and I pretty much outlined the episode, there was very little spillover between the different storylines, and so we really were able to divide it when we wrote the teleplay, rather than Broken, which I think was a fairly big episode in terms of production and the whole new sets, doing something really small and inward that was more like a play, or like 4 or 5 one-act plays. It was really fun to do an episode where we just dispensed with the medical mystery, which obviously we've done a handful of other times, and just delved into the characters' lives. There's so much bench strength among our cast that it was nice to put them in situations that we don't always see them in. The Taub and Foreman storyline in the episode, I think, really turned out well and was really well directed by Hugh and really well performed by those 2 actors. And there were so many wonderful physical elements, and it was such a great set, too, that Jeremy Cassels and our art department built, this kind of catacomb records room with all these hallways and shelves and sort of nooks and crannies, and they had a lot of fun running around and faking each other out through the shelves, and both of them were so good at the physicality of it. One thing that was really fun and interesting for me being on set during this episode was that I kind of got to work with the 2 Hugh Lauries. Days that he acts, he stays in an American accent all day. He works very hard on the accent, has a flawless American accent, and takes that very seriously. So even during breaks and when the camera's not on him, and if he's just wandering around the set, he's an American. And then days when he's not working as an actor, he's just himself and has a British accent. During the pre-production process for this episode, which on any TV episode you're overseeing the design and construction of sets, you're sitting down with the writers and looking over the scenes and giving notes on the script, you're talking to the director of photography. He was also acting in another episode, and then while this episode was shooting, he had to prepare for the next episode he was going to act in. So it was really like doing 9 jobs at once, and he just never misses a beat, definitely in the performance. And I think he did a great directing job. It was fun, seeing the two sides of Hugh.